Robots took my podcast, man. Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
In the early morning hours on January 1st, the SS Poseidon, en route from New York to Athens, was struck by a 90-foot tidal wave.
Oh, my God.
And capsized. Irwin Allen's production of The Poseidon Adventure.
Of 1,400 people aboard, only 6 will survive. This is their story.
That's the way out. That's our only chance.
Don't listen to him!
Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, Red Buttons, Carol Lindley, Roddy McDowell, Stella Stevens, Shelley Winters, Jack Albertson, Pamela Sue Martin, Arthur O'Connell, Eric Shea, and Leslie Nielsen.
Who will survive? The combined talents of 15 Academy Award winners bring you
The Poseidon Adventure, a Ronald Neame film coming from 20th Century Fox.
Anthony, I'm warning you. We can't go full speed ahead with this podcast. It's top heavy. It's in danger of sinking.
What is the top heavy part? Is it the Jordan part or the Anthony part? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm the top heavy part. My ego. Well, I guess we should we just dive right in here?
Yeah. Your attempts to capsize this podcast have not been successful, Jordan. Finally getting started.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to our podcast. The robots took my podcast. I am Jordan.
And I'm Anthony.
Anthony, what movie are we talking about today?
Today, Jordan, we are talking about not a film, but an adventure. 1972's The Poseidon Adventure.
Yes, based on a true story.
Is it? Is it though?
No, I just made that up. I'm just joking.
I mean, that will be one of the questions that we answer, I think. Hopefully.
I think that life is the Poseidon Adventure, and we're all on it.
You can't see this, but I'm stroking my chin. Thinking about that. So, Jordan, why you selected this film for us to talk about? I had some other films in mind, but you were insistent that we talk about the Poseidon Adventure.
This movie was a little before my time, but I caught up with this movie as a kid on TV. So I guess this movie kind of holds a soft spot in my heart. And I mean, I love the 70s disaster films. This is one of them. Irwin Allen was at the forefront of a lot of these disaster films in the 70s. He was the man behind a good chunk of them, at least. I mean, yeah, we had Bird-Eye Gordon too, but Irwin Allen was the man. I mean, come on. I mean, Earthquake. This one, I mean, and then he did a sequel even beyond the Poseidon Adventure, 1979 with Michael Caine and Sally Field. Irwin Allen, who came out of television, Lost in Space is what he was famous for.
And he worked in, I guess, he's one of those guys that worked his way up, worked in every aspect of film. And a producer here, but I think that maybe a deeply involved producer.
Yes, a hands-on producer, as they say.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which I think he ended up being so hands-on on the sequel to this movie that he ended up directing it himself. But yeah, this movie was directed by Ronald Neame, and a British director, Ronald Neame.
Yeah, and who did the music to this?
Oh, pardon me for going to Pacino. Oh, I love the music. John Williams, man. Freaking John Williams. Pre-Star Wars John Williams. Pre-Superman. And man, what a score. I love this score. This is John Williams,
And where do we know John Williams from? For those that have been stuck in a capsized ocean liner.
Oh, like I said, Star Wars and Superman and Indiana Jones. The Raiders theme is what he
never heard of him.
For all these themes.
Never heard of any of these movies. Sorry. Something we've heard of, Jordan. Come on.
These little movies.
Anyway, yeah, John Williams.
I think he retired not that long ago. I think he retired after Dial of Destiny.
I think we all retired after Dial of Destiny.
Shots fired.
So this was a movie of your youth, and also stars a young Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, may he rest in peace. He died recently, very 95.
A whole
He
other
died.
story.
That's another story in
unfolding.
itself. I won't go
Yeah,
into.
we were.
Very sad the way he died. I will say.
So, as we record this, we're just a couple weeks after I think Gene Hackman passed, and it will probably air in 2027. So, so remember, so this will be
After we get it
okay. That's right. Gene Hackman died a couple of years ago. Anyway,
Talk about acting power. Gene Hackman started in New York. His roommate was Dustin Hoffman when he started, even. And this is already, he's at the height of his power by this movie. This is a year after French Connection.
yeah, but already,
So he's already at the top of his game after years of struggling, of course. But
already has. I think wasn't he nominated for an Academy Award for Bonnie and Clyde?
yeah.
I mean, yeah, so
Just
he just
A-list
right out of the
already.
gate.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gene Hackman, I don't think one can discuss 20th century film without mentioning Gene Hackman's name as far as actors go. I mean, just a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm. Powerful actor he was. He became so powerful in the industry later on, he just didn't give a fuck, I think.
He was a teddy bear. He was a sweetheart.
I heard he could be difficult, I heard, meaning he didn't take direction well. The director would say, I need you to come through that door of the saloon, walk up to the guy at the bar. I don't want to come through that door at the saloon. Why do I need to go to the bar? I don't need to do that. Well, Gene, here's the deal, Gene. You're supposed to know that guy at the bar, so that's why you're walking up to him. You know him already, so, okay. Well, I don't want to sit down. But you're supposed to sit down and talk with him in the scene. Remember, you got dialogue there. Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to talk there.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth.
Your typical seasoned actor.
That was
and some of
90s
the
Gene Hackman
difficulties.
right there. But I think
90s
he
Gene
just was so, I just think he didn't give a damn at that point, maybe.
Well, I think Wes Anderson had some challenges with him as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking of too. I was kind of referring to Quick and the Dead, but yeah, Wes Anderson, it was a challenge for him too. Apparently, I heard that Hackman just was at odds with him on Royal Tenenbaums. I think it was.
Yeah,
he just didn't want to do. And apparently, Wes Anderson, you got to say the line that he writes. He doesn't let you improvise a lot. He likes to stick to the script. So that was, and of course for Gene Hackman, that's a problem because he doesn't want to do all that.
He doesn't want to learn his dialogue.
He doesn't want to learn his lines, as Kurt Russell said to John Carpenter. He doesn't know his lines.
But anyways, yeah, Gene Hackman will be missed. Just a powerhouse of American film, a presence.
Yes.
Definitely that will be missed, like I said. And yeah, and we previously talked about him on what film, Jordan? Do you remember?
Oh my God, what movie did we talk? What? Oh my God, I'm sorry. My memory has failed me. What podcast was it that we talked about him on?
I'm sorry, Jordan.
Here,
thanks for playing. Yes, I am.
You
fucker. I'm sorry, Jordan.
I don't.
No,
get the
Superman
car.
3.
Oh, that's right.
Superman
No,
3.
Superman 3. He wasn't in Superman 3. I had to break it to you.
Was he? Was he not?
No.
Oh, I
that
guess that was Richard
he
Pryor
was in-
and what's his name? You're right.
That was Richard Pryor and Robert Vaughn.
Robert Vaughn. Okay, that's on me. Sound effects on me.
He was in 3/4 of the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. Let me put it that way. 3/4.
I picked the one he wasn't in, yeah.
Yes, except for number 3.
And I already forgot about Superman 3. Look at that. Completely forgot about it. Anyway, this movie... It begins with a screen crawl. Jordan, is this a true story? The SS Poseidon en route from New York to Athens?
I want to believe it's true, but no, it's based on a book, actually. And I think it's slightly based on what happened to the Queen Mary, because I think the Queen Mary almost capsized. The Queen Mary, which they also filmed chunks of this on, when you see a real ship exterior, like they're outside on a ship, and which part of this actually... possibly could have happened. It's kind of loose. I know the author kind of loosely based it on that.
Yeah. But it really tells you it's like there are only a handful of survivors. This is their story. So it is one of those fake out movies.
We got that little, odd prologue. Yeah. Only a handful of survivors survived this fateful New Year's Eve.
Just stop short of the line of false advertising here that states that this is a true story. So, anyway.
It really just, it sets it up for being foreboding already. And, this is pre-Star Wars once again. So
Mhm.
in the late 70s, or I'm sorry, in the early 70s, late 60s, there was no happy endings a lot of times, as we've talked
Yeah.
about, like on Two-Lane
Oh,
Blacktop.
no spoilers, Jordan.
So this is already setting up for something bad,
Well, I will say that Shelley Winters was once on a boat, so I guess that kind of works. Does that make it a true story? I don't know. But we see a large ocean liner on a choppy water tank.
Yes.
In a choppy water tank.
This is played by a giant miniature boat in a giant water tank, by the way.
The interesting thing about water is that I've heard it doesn't miniaturize. So you can sort of see in special effects, water is coming out, and those water drops look kind of big for whatever they're flowing out of.
Generally, that's why they shoot water in slow motion with higher speed cameras. But yeah, effects men, including even Ray Harryhausen, who you and I love, complain constantly about. Water in miniature is a constant problem, man. It is constantly. Yeah. Sometimes you have to mix it up with gelatin, I think, to make it a little frothier looking.
But it looks really good, and it looks really real. It's a good model.
It's definitely a good model. This is effects by A.D. Flowers, who worked on another movie we talked about called Logan's Run on another podcast.
Check out that episode.
Yeah. But we start out with we meet Leslie Nielsen, the captain. Yeah, he at the helm.
Captain Harrison, he hails the engine room, and something's wrong with the ship's stabilizers. It's hitting some choppy seas, and it's having trouble staying right.
The ship needs new shocks, I think.
And that happens to a ship of this age. Yeah. 10, 15 years in. So anyway, so they should have he's like, we should have taken on more ballast, etc.
Yeah.
And
after we left Gibraltar.
Yeah. Then you've got Scotty down in the engine room. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain, kind of dude.
Yeah, and he calls him. He's like, who is that guy? And apparently the guy that now owns the ship is right there next to him. This is the part that bothers me in the movie, kind of. The greedy guy who owns the ship now is standing right next to him. Leonardos, yeah.
Leonardos, he twists his little mustache and goes, I mean, he's literally the villain.
Keep this ship going where I tell you, see? He's the only villain in the whole damn movie, actually.
Yeah. And he wants, this is the last voyage of the Poseidon.
Yes, the final voyage.
The final voyage. And so he wants to take the ship to dock in Athens so they can dismantle her. And he's losing money every day. I'm losing money here.
Yeah, what the hell's he so bent out of shape about over this losing money how is he losing money every day? They didn't plan ahead for that. I mean,
Jordan, you don't understand the shipping business, okay? Stay in your lane. He's got, who knows?
It don't pay for itself. I get it. The shipping business don't pay for itself.
But anyway, this movie needs a villain, okay? And that's what happens.
Yeah. Other than just the water itself, apparently.
And Jordan, why the owner of a ship is sitting on its last voyage, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
But it's real convenient. But anyway, so the captain doesn't want to run her at full speed because she doesn't have enough ballast. She can't stay upright.
She's top heavy, as he says.
She's top heavy. Ooh, this is a family podcast, Jordan. So Larkos threatens to relieve him of command.
Yeah.
And orders the captain, and like you said, that's Leslie Nielsen, full speed ahead. And the captain says, "Surely you can't be serious."
I was waiting for that.
Larkos says, "I am, and don't call me Shirley."
I was wondering when one of us is going to do that, make that joke. The airplane reference.
Are we too predictable at this point?
This is about the point, too, that we meet young Master Shelby, as he refers to him, played by Eric Shea, who comes up to the cabin because the captain forgot that he invited this little kid to come up to the cabin and watch him work, apparently. And so Leslie Nielsen says, Master Shelby, you like gladiator movies? No.
Ding! Why did I feel there's going to be so many airplane references?
We can't help it. But yeah, and he comes up there and he says, "Yeah, you picked a great time, Master Shelby, to come see that. You invited me, sir. Don't you remember?" But yeah, he said, "Yeah, you picked a wonderful time to, why don't we do this later? Why don't we anyway?" So yeah, the kid runs back to the cabin, and then.
Well, no, I mean, but the kid knows all about this ship. In fact,
Oh yeah. He even knows how tall the water is almost even. He says, "Oh, they get up to 30 feet." And he says, 35 feet to be exact.
Yeah, and he knows everything about the ship. He knows all the specs, and he finds out that the hull is 2 inches thick, but it's an inch thick right around the rudder area, and that might come
I
into.
think this is going to come in handy later on.
I don't know.
Really, that might help us.
It sounds like just useless trivia to me, Jordan. I don't know. People say all sorts of things.
And then it's about this time that we see a doctor going to the room of the Rogos, the freshly married couple, Mr. and Mrs. Rogo.
Got that fresh, new married couple smell.
Mrs. Rogo's getting seasick over something, maybe.
Ernest Borgnine.
We meet Ernest Borgnine, yes, as Mr. Rogo, a former New York cop.
Mr. Rogo, Detective Mike Rogo.
Yeah. I want to see this movie, actually. I want to see this prequel about how Rogo met the prostitute, Mrs. Rogo, after arresting her 6 times before they got married.
Yeah.
I want to see this movie. What was this movie like? Early 70s even.
I thought it would be more like a TV show, you know?
Yeah.
Like when there was a 70s TV show called My Hooker Wife, and it's about a cop whose wife is a prostitute.
Yeah.
And he's trying to hide it from the chief. Don't you remember that, Jordan?
And yeah, I believe it starred Ernie Borgnine because, they saw him in Marty and they were like, this is like perfect guy.
Oscar winner
Ernie Borgnine.
ABC this fall. Well, when did we last talk about Ernie Borgnine, as his friends call him?
Ernie Borgnine.
Do you recall? What episode?
Oh, damn. Okay, now you're going to do it again. You're going to play the music now. Of course. How could I forget? The Devil's Reign as Clovis.
The Devil's Reign.
Clovis! Corbus! That's right, it was, yeah. Shatner saying, Corbus! Yeah, Ernie Borgnine, frightening on that movie.
Yeah. It was funny. I actually watched this with my fiance, and she was like, that guy looks like the devil, like in one of those scenes where he was kind of uplit. And I was like, funny you mention that.
He kind of played the devil.
He's played everything.
Yeah. But yeah, Ernie Borgnine, Mr. Rogo, the doctor offers her a suppository. Mr. Rogo says, that's what you do. You come up here and kiss her off with a few pills. That's all you do. And the nurse says, no, they're suppositories. You put them, and she motions her hand upward, which I think is funny.
Yeah, there's some humor here.
His wife, played by Stella Stevens, by the way, also, and she's just like, I know what a suppository is. Anyway.
I bet she does. Anyway, James Martin, played by Red Buttons, who is, I guess, a classic TV comedian.
He was a classic vaudeville kind of comedian.
Yeah. He plays a health nut and lonely heart who can't find love. And then we get a Jewish couple going to Israel to see their grandson, the Rosens.
We meet them on the deck. They're on the upper deck. And this scene was shot on the Queen Mary, clearly, obviously. But yeah, we see him. He's doing his morning jog, and he runs past Mr. and Mrs. Rosen, played by Jack Albertson and Shelley Winters. And he says hi to them. And
where did we last talk about Shelley Winters, Jordan?
Oh. Wild in the Streets.
Oh, you remembered that one. Good. Ding, ding. Good memory.
And she apparently gained like 35, 40 pounds to play his role and tried to make herself look older for this role. She was 51 at the time.
That's why she gained the weight, George, for the role. No, I'm kidding.
She had fun doing it, according to Gene Hackman on The Tonight Show back then.
Oh, no, I mean, Shelley Winters just always a great personality. And she was only 51?
Yeah.
I don't know. She was playing...
She was I don't know how old she was supposed to be.
She was always old.
Other than older, yeah. But I think she's great in this movie, in this role, though. I think she really shines.
Yeah. And then, as we mentioned, we have Gene Hackman as Reverend Scott, who's a rebellious preacher with this get off your ass for God message.
This is where we meet. Yeah, he's talking to the other preacher, and he says, pray to God and hope that something good will happen? No, John. You've got to use your church for something more powerful. I don't know if that's my best Gene Hackman.
Yeah, it was a little. You had a dash of Shatner. It was good.
Angry, renegade, the perfect kind, stripped of his cloth. Hell, I even had to look up where I was being sent.
Yeah, and he's inviting him to another Sunday sermon on the ship. Yeah, I guess they got to have the church on the ship.
Yeah, it's a very sort of. There's a lot of religious themes here, as we'll see, and he is being banished off, as the movie tells us, to be a missionary in Africa. He's just too radical.
Too rebellious for the church, whatever church he serves under.
Church isn't ready for him.
Yeah.
So Mr. Lenarkos,
Not
like you
ready
said,
for prime time.
directs the boat to go forward, and it is New Year's, isn't it, Jordan? New Year's
It's
Eve?
New Year's Eve, yeah.
And down in the ballroom, everyone's getting ready to party and, singing Auld Lang Syne.
Did we forget to mention the sermon, though, before the ballroom with Reverend Scott, where he says,
Don't pray to God. Pray to the God within you.
and he basically tells people that, God will help the strong is what his message is in the sermon. It's not a bad sermon. I mean, come on. He's just saying God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah.
More or less is what he's saying.
Well, yeah, it's more of a motivational speaker kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean?
I paid $500 for this 2-day Reverend Scott motivational speech weekend on the ship, and I want I want my money's worth, So yes, I felt like I got my money's worth. I wasn't bored. I didn't fall asleep. But yeah, maybe I think you're right. It kind of sounds, I guess, like a motivational. But anyway, yes, cut to the ballroom.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, cut to the ballroom. No. But I mean, he's great in that, and that was actually, I think, Jordan, didn't you use that speech in multiple auditions when you were back in your young acting days?
I did, and I lost every audition because of that speech.
No.
They just didn't believe me. They didn't believe me at all, man. I
stripped to the cloth.
You were like Gene Hackman from the Poseidon Adventure.
Yes. My opening monologue, I decided to audition with Gene Hackman's speech from the beginning of the Poseidon Adventure. It goes,
I'm the best kind of reverend. Perfect kind. Pissed off, rebellious.
Next.
Okay, that was good.
Next.
Thank you. We'll call you. I think you have a future ahead of you, Jordan.
Yeah.
But we cut to the ballroom. There's a band rehearsing. This is where we meet Carol Lindley.
Yes.
Who's singing this title theme for the movie that would later be famously done by Maureen McGovern. There's got to be a morning after. And we meet Roddy McDowall as well, who's watching them. He's way more Irish than normal in this movie. He's normally like British in other movies. He's way Irish in this movie, though, for some reason.
He's so Irish, he's Scottish, in fact, Jordan.
His name is Akers, and he fancies the music, yeah. But but
I mean, he does a meh accent.
Yeah.
I mean, I just... I don't know why they went with that. I guess maybe it's from the book or something. I don't know.
But yeah, he says, and he's talking to the other waiter guy.
Mm-hmm.
The other waiter guy goes, "Oh, give me a Strauss waltz anytime." And he says, "I rather fancy it." And then this guy says something racist to him. He says, "You'd fancy bagpipes."
Whoa, Jordan.
Slamming the Irish.
But
anyway.
We don't use those terms anymore. We don't say that anymore.
Forgive me, Irish, forgive me. I'm sorry.
Do better, Jordan. Do better. I think he's Scottish, Jordan. I could be wrong, but
okay, maybe
they're
Scottish.
both bagpipe-heavy countries. I can't tell what his accent is supposed to be. But anyway.
He should have been wearing a kilt, I think it would have made it better.
What do we know real quick Roddy McDowall from?
Oh, my God. My favorite series of movies, the 5 Planet of the Apes movies, the TV show even.
Yeah.
Just to name a few. The Black Hole, he was the voice of Vincent the Robot. I mean, this is just naming a few once again. Even.
Just everywhere in the 70s. You could not make a movie without Roddy McDowall.
Yeah.
You just couldn't.
He apparently liked having card games with Arthur P. Jacobs, the producer of Planet of the Apes. And he also was apparently a big film fanatic himself.
Yeah.
He got busted for trying to collect film prints even.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know where you were going with that. He got busted for. I was like, well, hold on, Jordan. Okay, film prints.
Yeah, the FBI raided his house because he was collecting 35 millimeter film prints, and it was at the time when it was illegal, apparently, for some reason.
And all they found was pithy comments. Anyway, so we get a ship-to-shore telegram about a subsea earthquake off the coast of Crete. They're in the Mediterranean, maybe in the Aegean somewhere. I like how the camera, and this happens throughout the movie, the camera is rocking to mimic the motion of a boat.
Yes.
Even before like handheld, shitty 2000s handheld cam,
this
TV
is
show cam.
Yeah, this is before even the Steadicam came along. But yeah, the camera was mounted on some gyroscopic device to make it do that. So that the audience, us as the audience, can get seasick with the rest of them, I guess. And boy, does it work. I did find myself getting seasick a little bit watching the first parts of the movie.
But anyway, I thought that was pretty cool, and it really gives that illusion of being on a boat.
Oh, it totally
and then
did.
Everyone's celebrating New Year's, and then there's this enormous wall of water approaching the boat, and the captain yells for a mayday signal. And Jordan, then what happens?
The engine room gets flooded completely, basically, and that's the last of what Leslie Nielsen we see.
Yeah, why does the engine room get flooded?
Because this wall of water is huge, man.
Because a giant fucking wave hits the boat.
It's a tsunami-sized wave, yeah. Hitting the boat, yeah. And surf's up, Big Kahuna.
Yeah. Worst New Year's party ever.
Worst ever. Why they didn't fly, as Mrs. Rogo said, we'll never know.
Yes.
But that would have been another movie, I guess.
It would have been a very boring
Called
movie.
Airport.
No, I would love for a series of films that's just the Rogo's on vacation.
Yeah, right.
Just like
I like the
some shit
chemistry
goes
between.
down.
I honestly like the chemistry between Ernie Borgnine and Stella Stevens playing this couple.
I believe them as a couple. Yeah. I really like them. They were my favorite couple.
They're real because the way couples bicker at each other playfully. That's what couples really do.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way couples talk to each other. But yeah, they're
So then the boat is capsized by the waves and it turns upside down.
Yeah. So all the extras we find out stuntmen and women go flying all over the damn place. And some of them are hanging from the tables. And one of the stuntmen does this great stunt where he crashes through the skylight. OMG, what a stunt. I mean, you got to give it up for the stuntmen and women in this movie. I definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's all a bit ridiculous, Jordan. Like,
Yeah.
this could never happen. Like a boat that size turning over, flipping over.
Wrong again, Anthony.
Funny you should mention this. Funny. No, actually, I will backtrack you here and say, funny you say that. My father-in-law used to be in the Navy, so he knows a few nautical things. I asked him about this movie. I said, what kind of danger would you really be worried about? And he told me that just mainly the impact of the boat would be the biggest problem. Yeah, everybody would fling from side to side and then bam, be hitting walls and constantly and probably die from that. But he said after that, you'd have time to get out of the ship, he said. You'd actually have a lot of time to get out of the ship, he said, because it's kind of like just a cork in the water at that point, bobbing in the water. And he said there still would be pockets of air. That was just him. I don't know. I could be wrong.
But Jordan, a boat that size and weight would not have enough air to keep it buoyant for very long.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, wrong again, Anthony. The book is based on a real incident in 1942. Off the coast of Scotland, thank you, Jordan, for bringing it up earlier. The Queen Mary was broadsided by a wave and turned over 52 degrees from center. That was only 3 degrees from capsizing.
But it didn't capsize, though.
It didn't capsize, but smaller boats certainly overturned, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you, Facts Guy.
If there was not enough balance, she might have overturned for at least a short time.
Facts Guy, no, that's ridiculous. There's no wave big enough to push it. Oh, this thing is like humongous. It's 200-something feet high.
Rogue waves are unpredictable, Anthony. Ocean waves can reach great heights. In January 1st, 95, a natural gas platform 100 miles off the coast of Norway was swamped by a mega wave 85 feet high. Tsunamis can reach 100 feet when they're close to shore. So given the right wave with the right angle and wind, it is certainly possible.
Even if it were a Carnival cruise boat.
Especially if it was, look.
Or like a Disney boat, yeah.
Their general clientele is probably quite heavy and provides a lot of ballast, but it is possible. So anyway, check out my new podcast, Hate to Break It to You, where I point out the logical fallacies in my guest arguments and embarrass them publicly.
Thanks, Facts Guy. Get out of here.
Give it up, studio audience. Yes, thank you, Facts Guy. Boy, he's got a lot of time on his hands. Is he in a relationship? Does he have a mate?
Does he Mrs. Facts Guy?
Is he lonely? He seems to have a lot of time, I'm saying.
Jordan, that's none of your business.
I care about you. I'm going to hook you up with somebody, Facts Guy.
There is someone I'm interested in. She plays in my D&D group. She's not on my campaign currently, but I do kind of like her. So I don't know. We'll see.
Anthony, I think we should pair them up together. What do you think? We should try to pair them up, We should hook Facts Guy up.
Facts Guy up.
I think he's missing something in his life. I think that's why he runs every day, Anthony. Oh, sorry, I'm quoting Shelley Winters now in the movie. Because he's lonely.
He's lonely like red buttons in this movie.
That's why Facts Guy runs every day, 5 miles, and takes vitamins. Yes, just like red buttons in this movie.
He runs to a can of Mountain Dew, I think. He runs to grab his video game controller.
Mountain Dew is most delicious. You have no idea.
Yeah. So anyways, So the boat capsizes. They realize a rescue operation will have to go through the hull, or at least
Yeah.
Reverend Scott, Gene Hackman's character, seems to know an awful lot about capsized boats. Jordan, can we agree?
Yeah,
that-
he does, man. And what did God tell him all this?
I know.
But yeah, and the one of the captains is down there and he's injured like everybody. He says, "We must stay down here. Help will arrive." And Gene Hackman tells him he's a pompous ass and that no, help's not going to arrive. We need to find out a way to get off the top of this ship because help ain't going to arrive and the water's just going to keep flooding in at some point. So
Yeah, and he's right.
Yeah.
And I gotta pause here on the set. So imagine they had to build a right-sized set for this very big ballroom scene, a huge ballroom that you
thanks to the
expect in a ship
genius
like
production
this.
design of William Creeber, also of Planet of the Apes fame. And yeah, they built the set to be able to be tilted and then turned over completely so that it would be.
Yeah.
So yeah, the set had a ceiling essentially.
So they turned the whole set over, Jordan? Is that what they did?
Upside down
Or
completely.
did they rebuild it?
No, that set, they turned over that whole set completely upside down.
Wow. And then they got all the shots of the people against the wall and everything.
But I heard they tipped it over with just forklifts, apparently. They used some kind of forklift kind of thing, and just to tip it over to the side, and then they completely flipped it over. But yeah, it was one big box of a set with the ceiling to it. Sets don't normally have ceilings to them a lot of times too.
Yeah.
You know, that's room for the lights to.
But it's a fantastic effect. The whole room spins, people are falling, people hanging from the top, and
Yeah.
there are dead bodies everywhere. Dead bodies like everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is all made up of stunt people. All these extras were obviously stunt people for good reason.
But it's very believable.
But yeah, and then dead bodies everywhere. I mean, like I said, that guy went through the skylight, and women fell from the tables to the floor. So yeah, everything is in disarray. And then as Reverend Scott sang all this, the other Shelby kid is up on top, played by Pamela Sue Martin. She's up on one of the tables, and he's
Susan Shelby.
Thank
his
you.
Teenage sister.
Yeah.
The kid's 10. She's like, I don't know, 15.
The kid
or
says,
something.
"Gee, Susan, how'd you get up there?" And she goes, "That's a stupid question." So then Reverend Scott gets the idea that they can make a kind of a what's the word, trampoline or whatever, something for her to fall into. So he grabs a sheet and he grabs everybody else. He grabs a tablecloth, big sturdy tablecloth, and gets a few of the other men to round up and let Susan fall into it and catch her. And they do.
Yeah.
But then, Akers, Roddy McDowell, is perched up in the corner. He says, "Reverend Scott, I'm trapped up here," whatever. And then Reverend Scott gets the idea. Well, Red Buttons, Mr. Martin gives him the idea, Reverend Scott, that maybe they should be heading upward. So Reverend Scott gets the Christmas tree, gets all the men to put the Christmas tree, catapult it up towards Akers so they can all start climbing up to the top.
Yeah, it's a metal Christmas tree with a frame. It isn't like a spruce here,
Yeah.
Jordan. It's like, just so everyone knows. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
a
sorry. I should have explained that. Not an actual.
They made
Christmas
sturdier Christmas trees back in the day, but yeah.
Yeah, this is an actual metal Christmas tree, literally shaped like a cone,
Boat is upside down. Let's start climbing up. That makes sense.
And then he tries to rouse everybody to get up. So everybody starts climbing, but nobody else wants to go except for Mrs. Rogo, Mr. Rogo. They're all going. The Shelby kids going up there.
Everybody whose names were in the opening titles.
Everybody whose names are on the poster, almost. Yes.
Decides to go with it.
And then, they decide to leave all the stuntmen behind. And then Red Buttons, Mr. Martin goes over and talks to what's her face, played by Carol Lindley.
Nani.
Nani, thank you.
Nani Perry.
What's your name, Nani? Your brother's dead. God damn, that's pretty cold.
Yeah. She's grieving over. She's grieving over her dead brother.
Did you like his music?
I would have danced to it if I'd had somebody to dance with.
But yeah, her brother with the bad haircut, poor guy. He never had any dialogue either.
Yeah, he is. He's a long hair. I was like, there's some hippies on this boat. Someone let some hippies on this boat.
It wasn't hippies, Sheriff.
So Gene Hackman wants everyone to climb up the Christmas tree and start going up to the bottom of the boat, right? Because it's upside down.
Yep, up and out of the bottom, and then kick out the door as there you go.
And so, and of course, Ernest Borgnine is like, what are you talking about? We start seeing this dynamic between these two. Reverend Scott has the idea of what we should do.
Kind of a rivalry going on,
Yeah, and Mr. Rogo is like, nah, I don't know about that. Why should we follow you kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's the kid that gives him the idea, too. He says that the steel at the bottom of the boat is like an inch thick. And and of course Ernest Borgnine doesn't like hearing this kid talk about all this stuff. He's like,
This isn't just some boat floating upside in a bathtub, kid.
he says. But anyway, but yeah, they're all up
But
there
anyway,
at the top.
so then
Everybody on the poster. Oh yeah, go ahead.
They climb to the top, including Shelley Winters, who I kind of like this part. So they've got an old couple going with them.
Yeah, the
right?
Rosens
So
are going to go with them.
the Rosens are going with them, so they have to. He's got to push her up. They've got these elderly folks,
Yeah,
with mobility issues, going and climbing up to the top of this upside down boat.
talking about where Gene Hackman has to help her up and he shoves her butt.
Yeah. Jordan. So all the people whose names are in the opening titles get to the top. And then, Jordan, what happens? There's a bunch of people who don't want to go, right?
Reverend Scott takes one last look around. He says, I want to appeal to you one last time. And they all kind of laugh at him like he's Noah all of a sudden, and the flood is not going to come. And then the wave crashes right through the other skylights, the vertical skylights. And all these stunt people are running for their lives. And then they're all suddenly trying to climb the tree. But there's a rickety-rockety happening with both. There's a little explosion that rocks it again. And then, bam, the Christmas tree falls. And you can see the look on Gene Hackman's face. It's a really good performance of Hackman because he wants to save these people, this guy, Reverend Scott. And you can tell he feels deep, deep guilt that he can't save these people. And I think that's one of the more visceral parts of this movie, again, that really hits you in the gut.
Yeah.
The look on his face, just the
Hackman's
remorseful
good.
look on his face and on Hackman's face. Yeah. Like there's nothing he can do, but goddamn, he's got to help these other people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're on their own.
So Roddy McDowall's character Akers he knows the ship, right?
Somewhat.
And so he's
somewhat,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, which is kind of weird. He's like, I remember over here, there's a ventilation shaft and there's all this other stuff. So they go over, and his knee is hurt, right? So they climb over to the ventilation shaft as water is starting to flood. The ship is starting to sink, and something keeps exploding. Something I don't know what keeps exploding on this boat occasionally and rocks the boat.
It's something in the chimneys at the bottom of the boat keeps exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, they climb into the ventilation shaft. And water's like starting to flood in. I don't know why they don't start closing these hatches.
Oh, the hatches
anyway,
after they go through them, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, they should start. That would at least slow it down a little bit. But whatever.
To keep those pockets of air. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So great scene. They kind of find this major ventilation shaft that runs through the boat, and it has a long ladder in it. Metal ladder rungs, right? And so they start climbing up through the ventilation shaft, Jordan. And then what happens? What happens to our hero, Roddy McDowall?
Oh, fuck. What happens on this part?
He falls down the ventilation shaft.
Oh, okay.
His knee is hurt.
Yeah. He falls to his death because they're in that damn chimney thing. And he falls to his death, which ups the ante already. You're like, oh my God, who's going to go next?
Yeah. And I got to say that the ape makeup is fantastic as well in this movie. But he's like...
The ape makeup in this movie? What are you talking about?
I was just saying there's not much of it, but it's really good. But Roddy McDowall's character, Akers, he dies like a red shirt. He dies like a day player.
He's the first guy to go, yeah.
Yeah, and very correctly, my fiance was like, oh, he's going to die. Oh, he's going to die. I'm like, no, he's not.
I had to kill the guy that loved the bagpipes first.
Yeah, exactly. More discrimination.
Yeah, this movie does not like the Irish people for some reason, or Scottish people, I guess.
Roddy McDowall deserved a better death, Jordan, I think.
Yeah, he kind of got a shit death, I have to say. He got like a Star Wars shit death, Boba Fett kind of death.
Yeah. And what's that scream?
The Wilhelm?
The Wilhelm scream. He didn't even get a Wilhelm scream.
Oh, that would have been awesome, actually.
They just throw a dummy into a pool and that's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't even come back up or anything. He just sinks.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, Nani, the ship singer, like we said, every movie in the 70s kind of needs the damsel in distress, right?
Yeah, poor Nani here. She just can't get, she just won't move or anything. She just screams constantly, man. I feel,
She just freaks out about everything. She just doesn't like water. She's claustrophobic and she just holds everybody up. And that kind of character bugs me in every movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you recall Chosen Survivors? That had a screaming girl in it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, or it's like the women in prison films always have to have that one screaming girl that goes, "No, we're not going to make it out,"
Yeah. and then someone's got to slap her. Luckily, nobody slaps this person.
Oh, she
slaps her in this movie.
You don't remember? She gets slapped by Stella Stevens after she screams. Stella Stevens goes, shut up, and slaps her.
Okay, you're right. You're right. The screaming girl gets slapped. You're right.
They do slap her.
Okay, my bad. Well, the audience wants to slap her. She's just like, actually, she's not the worst screaming girl in movie history, but she is definitely slowing everybody down. But luckily, she has...
But Red Buttons is behind her trying to help her along the whole time.
Yeah.
He's her hero, somewhat.
Oh, he wants to be your hero somewhat.
Yeah, well, he's lonely. He's got that hardware store that he opens by himself back. Maybe that's what he needs in his life. Somebody younger.
Someone 25 years younger than him.
Somebody from the counterculture.
How'd you two meet? Well, there was this ocean liner that capsized. And we were one of 5 survivors.
She was with her and her brother's band, and her brother died, and I comforted her.
And it was love after that.
And we fell in love forever after that, yes.
Somewhere in the engine room. Anyway, so then they discover... Well, Jordan, what do they discover? Walking through the hallways.
Well, they discover this other way to the engine room, but then they look around for supplies. Is that what you're talking about? You're cutting ahead to that kind of?
Yeah.
And we see all like these restrooms upside down, a barber shop upside down. It's kind of a trip, and they're all looking around.
In the book, I haven't read the book, but I've read sort of enough about the book.
Yeah.
That I think there's a character, and just like the boy in this movie, Robin.
Oh, Robbie. Robbie.
He goes
Shelby.
to the bathroom. He's like, I'm gonna go to the can. No, he says, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna go to the John.
Jordan, you tell me, what sort of like gymnastics do you have to do?
You have to go upside down.
Yeah.
Go to
like
the bathroom
how
upside
is that?
down.
Yeah, exactly. To try to use that I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I mean,
wouldn't the bathroom be the last place you kind of want to be? An upside down bathroom.
Well, Anthony, how do you think those people on that Lionel Richie video for Dancing on the Ceiling went to the bathroom? Huh? Don't you know they had an upside down bathroom for that place?
They were walking on the ceiling, Jordan. They were
even in the bathroom snorting blow upside down.
That was true.
No. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting off course here. Stay the course here, Poseidon. Sorry, but I don't get that either. That was funny too that he's acting like he's going to go to the John and he's basically peeing on the ceiling.
Hey, dude, just pee in the pool. You know what I mean? There's enough water around. Nobody's going to notice. Like, oh my God, who peed? Did somebody pee in this capsized ocean liner water? Gross.
Don't tell me the Rosens weren't already peeing on themselves even. I mean, come on.
Oh, Lord.
Come on, I'm just saying. I would have peed in my pants at that point.
Couple that elderly, having that many, and everyone just had a bunch of drinks at New Year's. And did
they tank up on champagne, didn't they?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm sure. I'd have to pee too. I get it. But didn't Robin have it? Did you see him drinking champagne?
I thought I did. Yeah, that did not look like ginger ale. It looked like they shared a glass with him.
In the 70s, man. In the 70s.
The 70s, everybody had the French attitude, I guess. Kids drink young.
Hey, I guess they're not in the States. They're somewhere in the ocean, so it's like, why not?
Technically, they were near France, so I guess that was the...
It's good enough.
That was good enough, yeah.
We're near France. Good enough. Okay, so then they discover other survivors.
Oh, yeah, they're walking past, saying they're heading straight up somewhere else, and...
they're going to the bow. They're going to the opposite end of the ship, not the rear.
But Reverend Scott yells and says, they're going the wrong way! This is where him and Rogo get into a conflict again. He's like,
what makes you so sure you're right? Have you seen it?
Yeah, which is a fair question. We've been following the Reverend this whole movie, and now it's like, wait a minute. There's 5 times as many, there's 20 some odd people going the other way, and they shamble like zombies. They just sort of ignore them.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Nobody says anything. They're just kind of it's almost... You're almost wondering if they're ghosts or something,
Ooh.
Deep theory there.
That's what this movie needed is ghosts.
The haunted Queen.
And also, they pass the galley, they go through the galley and shouldn't they have gotten some food or something, I don't know.
They did. Well, you see Mrs. Rogo chugging on that bottle of brandy that they got. So they did get brandy.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So they don't need food. They got, that's all you want is brandy at that point, right? Come on.
Yeah.
But they figure out this way. What is it? Reverend Scott finds this other way where they can swim.
Yeah, Reverend Scott Yeah. Oh, well, what happened? Hold on. Let me back up a little bit. Rogo and Reverend Scott get in this sort of fight and they got to be torn apart. So Reverend Scott goes like, fine, okay, I'm going to go find the engine room. Give me 15 minutes. And if I don't come back, you guys go with the other.
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. If I'm not back in 15, yeah.
Then fine, do what you want. So yeah, Susan goes with him. And this is, he goes and they have time together. And Jordan, this gets a little weird. Like she's really scared and she's really like glomming onto him.
Yeah.
Did you say she has a little crush on him? Like, and he's hugging her and trying to console her, and then it gets a little uncomfortable. Jordan,
Well, she definitely was in love with him. I mean, we forgot to mention earlier in the ballroom, they cut to a POV and she's just staring at him as this other Studley guy asks her to dance, with him. So Susan, clearly is in love with Reverend Scott. She's got a big crush on Reverend Scott, clearly. But I think he's a little too old. Maybe he's a little too old for her, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think she's legal. And Jordan, I know you're like they're right by France. No. Okay.
The legal age of consent in France, Anthony, is no. I'm just joking. I don't know. I thought she was at least 18. No. I mean, am I wrong?
I thought she was a little younger. I thought she was more like 16, or I thought she was high school age. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Now
your brother's 10.
Might be right. Yeah, I think you're right.
It's kind of. I got creeper vibes.
They're like on school holiday, aren't they?
Something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's a little weird. It is.
And their parents aren't around.
Yeah. Luckily enough, they don't get further than Luckily, there's no kissing going on. Even being in the 70s,
Yeah. So he goes off. She's following him.
Mm-hmm.
So he climbs off to who knows where. She waits 5 minutes and then she goes back to the group.
He does that same thing that Robert Wagner does in another Irwin Allen movie, Towering Inferno, too, where he's like,
spoiler alert.
Don't worry, I won't be long. He like tries to give her confidence, but he's like, don't worry, I won't be long. I'm the hero. I'm not going to die yet.
Yeah. And then Paul Newman comes in. No kidding.
Yeah.
And then, so anyway, she goes back and she's like, he's dead or whatever, He
told me to come back and tell you that if he dies, you're in charge, Mr. Rogo.
And then Rogo's kind of like, all right. And then you kind of see like Rogo has a change of heart. He's kind of like, well, maybe we need to wait a little longer. And then Hackman like shows up just in the nick of time as they're about to like go.
I found it. I seen it. I was there.
Yeah. And then Rogo's like, okay, I did blame you for Roddy McDowell's shitty death, but I guess you're all right now. Let's go where this dude says.
A dude already had a bleeding leg, and
I don't know. Are you on, in this movie at this point, are you on team Hackman or are you on team Ernest Borgnine? Rogo or Scott?
I want to be on team Reverend Scott, but don't get me wrong. Mr. Rogo brings up some good points. He brings up some logical points here. His fears are real. They're grounded. And, it's not like he's not crazy, man. He's a cop. He's a cop from New York, man. He knows how to survive. He's a detective.
He's a lieutenant.
A lieutenant detective from New York. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to undermine his credentials. Sorry, Mr. Rogo. Lieutenant Rogo.
And then Gene Hackman's a disgraced preacher. So it puts the audience in that position. Like, who would you follow?
In reality, I'd probably definitely follow Mr. Rogo. I wouldn't follow the religious guy. I'd be like, what are you trying to do? Start a cult with us, dude? Just trying to take us somewhere to start your own cult. You're going to get us back to Gibraltar and start a cult there? Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah, but he's younger and Poseidon Adventure too. Anyway, but he's younger. Gene Hackman's younger, and he just shouts every line. Yeah. Shouts every single thing he says.
He does. That's why I'm like...
Gene Hackman School of Acting. People.
Forget
it! Which way to the restroom?
Yeah, exactly. But then they figure out that they figure out that they gotta swim through this part with the rope line?
Yeah. And that's... So the ship is filling with water, right?
Yeah.
And then...
By the way, we at one point see red buttons when he's the last person in line, and you see that you saw that water coming through the door. The look on Red Button's face looks real. I read that he didn't like the water on this movie, didn't like working in the water. It made him uncomfortable.
Oh, wow.
Everybody hated something about the situation of working on this movie, though, because this movie did not sound fun to work on. It probably should have been made with stunt actors, honestly, from what I understand, because everybody got hurt. also. But the look on his face is real because he didn't like the water. Anyway.
Yeah, I watched a featurette, and Irwin Allen, and this was probably just for the lawyers or insurance. He was just like constantly like, "Are the people going to be okay? Are the actors going to be okay?" Because I think there was a lot of risk on set with all these things.
I saw that same one. He's going it over and over again. I just want to make sure it's going to be right for the people, for the actors. I just want to make sure it's safe, 100% safe before we do it. He says that, and even Ronald Neame in an interview tried to say that the actors were not injured that badly. That's not really true. I mean, there was some.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman apparently reawakened an old knee injury from a motorcycle accident, and his knee had to be drained 3 times a day by an on-set doctor because of all the strenuous moving around they were doing. And Ernest Borgnine also got hurt. He hurt his back apparently, and he had to wear a corset through the rest of the movie under his costume.
That's why he wore the corset.
Yeah, sure, that's why. And apparently Jack Albertson.
And I hurt my crotch. I got to wear this codpiece here.
Stella Stevens backed up into a hot pipe and burned her rear, apparently. Jack Albertson, Mr. Rosen, sustained a minor head injury.
Wow.
Red Buttons apparently suffered cuts on his back and left leg. And him and Carol Lindley both also hated heights. They both had acrophobia. So every time they're in a high place, that fear looks real on them. When they're on catwalks and shit, that fear is real on their face.
Oh, yeah. These sets are, I mean, I'd be worried about walking around.
These sets look perilous. If as an actor, I'd literally be like, I remember Michael Caine said it in his School of Acting thing. If you're an actor on a set and a director tells you to get in this water with a bunch of sharks and you see the sharks swimming, he said, you ask that director to do that first before you do that. Because if he's not willing to do it, then it's probably dangerous.
And that's why they cut the shark scene in Poseidon Adventure 2, and the movie wasn't that good.
That's right. Starring Michael Caine.
Anyway, but yeah, I was thinking that same thing today. Number one, all this would be CG today. Mm-hmm. And number two, these actors like hell, or the insurance companies probably wouldn't let the actors do all of this.
Yeah.
Right? And even if they did, the actors sure as hell wouldn't do that. They would barely get wet. So this was back in the day when you would just like throw actors into the grinder, so to speak.
Yeah.
I
this movie was remade in 2006 with Kurt Russell and Richard Dreyfuss among many in the cast, and Josh Lucas. But I think by that point they had the luxury of blue screen and green screen on a lot of things. So I don't know how perilous they put the actors in on that movie by comparison. I know they did go to great lengths with the sets, though, with the upside down sets. And they had a great production designer on that one, too, William Sandell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope nobody got hurt on the remake as badly as on this movie.
Well, I doubt it. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. What was Richard Dreyfuss like? The metal in the hull is an inch thick.
Oh, come on, kid. You're trying to tell me that this is some boat in a bathtub, kid.
Yeah.
How come he knows so much? How come you know so much, Reverend? What the hell is going on here?
Maybe we should watch that one. I don't know.
Anyway. We'll review that one next. Yes, the 2006 Josh Lucas, Kurt Russell.
Yes, we
Richard
will
Dreyfuss.
in the TV movie, and we will just all things Poseidon Adventure.
And then the TV movie with Steve Guttenberg. Yeah, apparently it was a TV movie remake with Steve Guttenberg from the 90s. Did you know that?
It was.
I'm not making that up. That's.
Oh, I thought you were making that up.
No, I didn't. That came up in the feed on Amazon. I saw. I haven't watched it, so I have no idea. But now I'm curious.
Swiping left on the Steve Guttenberg Poseidon Adventure TV movie. Sorry, guys, for completists only. No way. Anyway, back to this movie.
Already in
But I mean, we can have a whole podcast. Just call it the Poseidon Podcast.
The Poseidon movies.
We break down all the Poseidon movies, including Beyond, starring Michael Caine, Sally Field.
In this episode, we talk about it's Poseidon adjacent. We talk about that episode of The Love Boat where the Love Boat capsized.
That's right. Also, fun fact, Anthony, Michael Caine has done 2 water movies, Beyond the Poseidon Adventure and Jaws the Revenge. Which one did he hate working on more? Jaws the Revenge. The answer.
Anyway, okay. So right. Then he just swim to the engine room, right?
Yeah, and this is where Shelley Winters flexes her muscles and says, I used to be a champion woman swimmer. So let me go first, Reverend.
Yeah. Or let me go instead of you. I can hold my breath and I can do this. Because he's got to dive down, go under some part of the bulkheads, through the doors, whatever, and through all this debris, and then come out the other side. For a guy without a schematic to this ship, he is quite convinced where he's going. I would be like, I don't know. All of these look like metal walls to me.
He is way
I don't
confident in
know
his
where-
decisions. Yes, definitely.
It's blind faith, Jordan. That's what the movie's message is. Blind faith.
That was the original title. No. And then I had the blind faith music in there too. The get down off your throne, leave your body home.
So then, so Shelley Winters, of course. Okay, no, sorry.
No, well,
so she's like,
Reverend Scott swims first. He gets caught under the rubble. She goes after him. She manages to help him get caught out of the rubble, and they swim back up. And this is where, yeah, it gets sad.
And that's because she was the women's swimming champion in Brooklyn in
1900.
1900.
27, I don't know.
1890-05.
Yeah.
So she saves her, and I thought this was very empowering to women and all that sort of thing, because normally you had the crying lady, the screaming lady, right?
Right.
And actually you have an older person, actually doing, they contribute to the thing. They're not just an old couple bickering and what have you. She has her moment to shine.
Everybody, everybody's got their own moment to shine.
Yeah. But Jordan, then what happens?
Oh. Well, Gene Hackman swims up. Reverend Scott swims up first out of this spot that they came up out of, and then so does Mrs. Rosen, Shelley Winters, and just as she's pulling out of the water, she starts to have a heart attack right there. Dang.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh, I guess I'm not the champion women's swimmer anymore. And then, Gene Hackman holds on to her.
And that was really Shelley Winters having a heart attack. She is that committed to the role.
She made herself out of a heart attack for that scene. And then there was a doctor that revived her right there after the scene. That's how serious. Talk about method.
Irwin Allen is like, come on.
She made Irwin Allen just sit around and the crew sit around while they revived her back for the scene, Anyway, no, I made all that up. We made all that up, folks.
Irwin Allen couldn't say that no one died in the production because Shelley Winters actually died for 3 minutes in the making.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But then, and then Reverend Scott holds her tenderly and he goes, no.
But I mean, what do you think of this scene? I think what do you think?
No, it's sad. It's effective. It's sad. It makes me sad every time I watch it still. I joke about it like this, but no, Shelley Winters is really great in this scene. So is Gene Hackman.
In the featurette, she informs us that I learned to swim from Johnny Weissmuller back in Brooklyn.
Yeah, isn't that a trip? Johnny Weissmuller, who played Tarzan. Shit. Name drops him. That's kind of
wink. Shelley Winters, boy, yeah.
But yeah, I think the scene is they're really good in the scene, and then of course it gets more sad after Mr. Rogo swims up and finds her because he's like, "Why didn't you tug on the line, Reverend Scott?" Oh God! And then he sees her, and then it's sad. And then even worse, after everybody else swims up, Mr. Rosen has to find her there. Yeah, and it's really sad. And but everybody else makes it through the rope.
It's interesting because this they've seen so many dead bodies already, but this is the first person they sort of knew that they've been through this adventure with. But anyway, so then they all sort of swim and join them, but Rogo is the one who sort of has the real leap of faith because he's like, they haven't been back in whatever minutes they were timing, 2 minutes or whatever they had. They're not back. And Rogo's the one who swims and follows the line. And then that's his moment of sort of following the preacher. That's really when he's like, okay, I trust this guy and I follow this guy. He takes that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I would have done that. 2 people disappear, and don't come back after a few minutes, 5 minutes. I'm not sure, Jordan, I'm going to jump down there.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. You're swimming into an unknown situation there. Because like you said, you don't know if you're just going to run into more walls of metal and that are underwater. Because you're underwater the whole time. How are you going to see,
You're going to find 2 dead bodies. You're going to add to that count. I mean, or whatever happened to them. I don't know. Who's to say? But I thought that was heroic/stupid.
Oh, my God. That creepy part early on where Gene Hackman finds his way through there and he pushes that dead body out of the way and it looks like a real...
Yeah.
They used a real human to hold his breath.
I thought that was cool. Yeah.
That was clearly not a mannequin. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Or a dummy. That thing had some weight to it.
There's a lot of realism to this film, so things like that. Yeah, you'd see dead bodies floating everywhere. It kind of has a horror movie aspect because of that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So anyway, Nani panics again, before she jumps in.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when Red Buttons has to convince her, like, hey, just hold on to me, and all this. So
Hold your breath and I'll help you.
She says she can't swim.
yeah. So she's like, we can just wait here and be rescued. And he's like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, this is the stakes have increased. The ship is sinking even more. Water's rushing in. And then this is like a very real situation where you're just like, wow. And it's really claustrophobic. And if you're afraid of water, and it's really impactful.
I admire the fact that this movie's not afraid to kill its characters either. To up the ante for the rest of the characters, sort of up the danger. We get the idea of danger still. That's the great thing too here.
Yeah, Shelley Winters is dead, right? And before she died, she's like, here's the a necklace with the Hebrew symbol for life.
Give it to our grandson in Israel when we get to Israel.
Yeah, gives it to Gene Hackman to give to her husband. That's touching. I really thought they had a better death scene and moment than even her husband who comes, right?
Yeah.
So the husband doesn't want to leave. He just wants to stay there with his wife. And Reverend Scott's like, we got to go. You're of the living. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. She would have wanted you to do this. She would have wanted you to go on living. Like
he says, look, it's the third act and we don't have time for this. We got to hurry. The movie's almost over.
Yeah. We got another set piece to go through.
So everything's always on fire. And this is the most flammable boat that's full of water that I've ever seen, Jordan. Like, what is on fire everywhere?
Yeah.
Honestly, I understand there's a couple gas lines. Okay. But just random metal is on fire everywhere.
Is this boat made of plastic?
What is going on? Is this a teak boat? What's going on here?
Is it made of wood? I mean...
So, Jordan, they finally get to the propeller, right? And then they're climbing up. They're climbing up to the propeller.
On these catwalks. Jeez, it looks scary.
On these catwalks. And then there's an explosion. And then speaking of deaths, what happens, Jordan?
We lose Mrs. Rogo. Linda. My Linda! Linda! No, Linda! Poor Ernest Borgnine. Yeah.
Boy, that was heartbreaking.
That's when he looks at Reverend Scott and says, I started to believe in you, but now I lost my Linda. But yeah, and it's heartbreaking. I joke, but it's sad. But
yeah, no, it was really sad. I mean, Shelley Winters' death was sad, but this was like, I mean, it's just Ernest Borgnine, Oscar winner, and you really have Hackman and Borgnine, like two acting titans, no pun intended.
this is acting power.
Going at it, really chewing the scenery.
I think, yeah. And then they're getting right to this exit. Yeah, that's pivotal. But yeah, then a pipe bursts and there's hot steam blocking the way they need to get in. And Reverend Scott looks up as if he's yelling. He's going to yell at God. And he says, how many more souls do you need? Acres wasn't enough. Mrs. Rosen wasn't enough. You want another soul? You want another life? Take me! And then he heroically, very martyr-like, jumps and pulls on the faucet turner.
The wheel.
The wheel. Yeah. The big giant wheel turning to turn off the steam so that the path is open for them to get out.
Yeah, he has this crisis. I love it. He has this crisis of faith. In fact, I mean, he could have dwelt on it. The movie could have dwelt on that a little bit more for me. It's such a pivotal moment. I kind of wanted to see more, but he sells it.
I will say that's the interesting thing about this movie. It is almost like a biblical fable in a way.
Yeah.
Reverend Scott is a messianic figure in this movie. He's not just a reverend. He is like a Messiah in this movie. He is the Messiah that saves these people at the end of it.
Yeah.
Not to get deep, but yeah. I mean,
but like all true Messiahs, so he's holding on to this wheel and hanging, but somehow able to turn it as he's hanging.
Yeah. Even though it's wet.
And turns off the steam,
And he can only hang on for so long, obviously.
But man, that is some upper arm strength, Jordan.
Boy.
His CrossFit membership, whatever, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, where did he learn that? Was he in the circus before this?
Yeah.
Before he was a preacher, maybe? Is that what it was? Was he like an acrobat in the circus? I mean, that was some... Or was he a gymnast, maybe? Was he into gymnastics? Yeah. Shit.
Anyway, yeah, and he tells Rogo to get them through. And then what happens, Jordan? He's hanging from the wheel.
Oh, he falls to his death pretty much, I guess, the same spot as Mrs. Rogo did.
Yeah, well, she falls on the catwalk and he falls into this flaming water.
Flaming water.
Once again, Jordan, why is this water on fire? Is this oil?
Maybe it's gasoline.
I don't know what. Is it gasoline?
Is it petroleum? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's petroleum. Maybe that's what.
Facts guy, does gasoline burn on water? See, Fax Guy's never around when you need him. That's the problem.
Fax Guy. Hello? Are you there, Fax? We need you, Fax Guy. He sounds busy. Maybe we don't. I don't want to catch him in an embarrassing moment.
Jordan, I'm about to level. I'll leave me alone. But look it up yourself. There's this thing called the internet.
God. What a dick. Where is he when you need him? Jeez. I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, Jordan. No, the answer is no. The answer is no. That would never happen. Yes, kerosene and certain things can burn on water, but no, I don't.
But yeah, and the one who screams first, of course, is the Shelby girl. Because, yeah, she was clearly in love with Reverend Scott.
But dude, by his death, his sacrifice, like there was a ledge there. He could have kind of swung to the ledge if he's hanging up there already. Or
I did wonder that too, why he couldn't swing back to the ledge a little, maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he didn't get that far from the ledge to get up there, right?
Yeah, I think it's suicide or something. I could be wrong. I'd have to look at the scene again. But
Gene Hackman did part of this stunt himself. He did hang like at least 8 feet for this scene. He obviously didn't do the fall. That was a stunt double, but to his credit, once again,
But do you think that's suicide, or do you think he just couldn't hang on? He doesn't look exasperated and his hand slips.
I think he couldn't hang on, and he probably hit something on the bottom from the height he was
I don't
at.
know.
That's what I thought. Looks like that's what I always thought.
Yeah, I get the plot device here. Like you said, he's sacrificing himself for the greater good.
Or was he incinerated on the way down quickly?
No, I think, who knows? He just falls in the water and disappears. Nobody who falls in water comes back up in this movie, okay? They just once you're in water, you just, whatever.
Yeah, the water just takes you, like the way Akers died. Akers fell in water. And then Mr. Rogo couldn't find him,
But I don't know. I think it's a sacrifice. I'd have to watch it again. I've only seen this movie once, but he doesn't try to even swing back to the catwalk
it is definitely
or anything or
more
ask for help, like someone throw me a line, or he just does it. He doesn't say someone get a rope or whatever, I'm about to do this, and tie a rope to himself, or I don't know.
I think at that point he didn't care whether he lived or died. He wanted to sacrifice himself for all that, because he took it all upon himself to do all that, to take these people out safely.
He got them there. It's interesting. I don't know. It's just conjecture, whatever you think, but to me, it looks like it was more of a suicide than it was.
To go deep, this is Reverend Scott's crucifixion scene.
Yeah. That's his true martyrdom.
This is where he's saying, I will be with you in paradise. All that. He's saying all that Jesus line, why has God forsaken me?
Well, I mean, maybe just living what he preached. He said, take things in your own hand and God will sort it out, kind of thing. Maybe he was just like, this is what I do. This is my role. And this is what the plot of this movie wants of me. And I'm going to do it. No, anyway, interesting. But yeah, he certainly does sacrifice himself.
And by God, what God wants, we mean Irwin Allen.
Yes. So then they have to Mr. Rogo is still grieving, and then he has to he picks up the mantle now and then takes the group the last little bit up to the hull. And
after getting chewed out by red buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Rogo. Now what do you think, Mr. Rogo? You happy?
Yeah.
All that.
So anyway, what do? They bang on the hull, and then what happens, Jordan?
They hear banging on the other side of the hull magically, and then bam, a blowtorch starts just coming through, burning through the 1-inch thick metal. Ernest Borgnine says, that beautiful son of a bitch was right.
And by that he means the little kid?
No, he meant Gene Hackman. We all know Gene Hackman was beautiful back then.
No, but I mean, he's like, the beautiful son of a bitch was the kid. It was the kid's idea.
Anyway. That's right. It was the kid's idea.
And he's like, I'm right here, mister. I'm not a son of a bitch.
The kid should have piped up then, exactly. Thank you, mister. I finally got some credit I deserve.
So they get rescued by, I guess, some French people.
Right? I think they're French authorities, yeah.
Authorities. They're in Greece.
The French Navy.
But the French Navy's there. I don't know. Something. I haven't read the book.
They're like, is there any more people on board? They're like, no, just us. And then they're like, have you found any more people? And they're like, just you. And then, they all pile into a helicopter. The John Williams music swells up and the score is just beautiful and over. Dun, 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 dun. Then they all get on the safety helicopter, and then the life flight helicopter from France or whatever it is. And then, they all pile in, and then end of movie. They fly away. End of movie. The ship is still laying there on its back in the ocean.
And this was brought up to me. I don't know if I would land a helicopter on a capsized boat.
Oh yeah, is that a good idea?
Is that, I don't know. But it's an abrupt 70s ending.
There's enough weight.
I'd love a screen crawl or something that just said, and then,
Reverend Scott will return in the next Poseidon Adventure.
yeah. He will.
Oh no, well, he died, so it'd be Mr. Rogo will return and Mr. and Mrs. Rogo.
Yeah.
Rogo's story.
Yeah, but like Mr. Martin and Nani got married, and Mr. Rogo, met another stripper, hooker.
He ended up with another prostitute.
Married her, and the other passengers were never seen or heard from again. Something, it just leaves it sort of open.
I remember
okay.
This was one of the first movies I saw as a kid on TV where, like you say, the credits came quick. And I didn't know back then, not having seen a lot of 70s movies, I didn't know that most 70s movies would just rush through the credits at the end like that. Even Planet of the Apes, another Fox movie, kind of does that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you
get. Yeah, and just they show the pivotal people there. They don't name every extra. They don't name every stuntman. That's the sad part. But yeah,
we need to get people out of the theater.
They just didn't mention. They didn't bring up everybody's name at the end of the credits like they do nowadays, or like they did in the 80s later on even.
Yeah, but I'm just not even the credits. I mean, the story doesn't tie everything.
Oh yeah, it's wrapped up.
It's just like that's it.
It's wrapped up quickly. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, I would like to know a little bit more about what happened to the other people. I don't want to wait 8 years to see the Poseidon Adventure 2, Jordan.
And none of them return in that movie. They go back to the boat apparently in the sequel.
Yeah,
but it's like more of a salvage movie. They go back in the boat. It's still capsized. They have to go inside the boat. It's still flooded.
Yeah,
because they get wind that there's more survivors. Apparently, that's a plot for the sequel. They came out in 79. Way too late.
Spoilers,
yes. And Michael Caine is the star.
I mean, I would go see it on just for Michael Caine, but yeah, I don't think I need to. We normally ask if there's a sequel or remake, but gosh, this has plenty of sequels and plenty of remakes.
Yeah.
I
saw pieces of it on cable. It just looked like Michael Caine and Sally Field getting wet a lot.
Oh, well, maybe I do.
Not
need
that
to
kind of
see
wet.
It.
Constantly in water.
Sorry.
Yes. Just constantly swimming.
But anyways, Jordan, what's the good? For me, the acting. Acting's fantastic.
Isn't it? I mean, these people all know what they're in. I mean, they're like well aware that they're in a melodrama, disaster melodrama, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's no getting around the fact that these are all great actors that they cast. And even if they don't like what they're doing in the scene, they're still lending their acting. Gene Hackman did this for the check, I heard. It was a big payday for him compared to French Connection, especially, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I read that a young Ben Stiller met him. I think it was when they did Get Shorty. Ben Stiller had a scene in Get Shorty that was deleted. And I've seen the scene. He played a director. But I think that's what he was talking about. I think he met Gene Hackman in that scene. And he told him how much he liked Poseidon Adventure. And Gene Hackman just said, that was another payday. I hated it.
Wow.
Hated making that movie. But I think the reason he might have hated it was because of the injuries and the physical part of it doesn't seem like it was easy ride on this movie for any of the actors, to their credit.
No.
They earned the right to complain on it, in my opinion.
They earned the right, yeah. But the sets are incredible.
Yeah, the sets by William Creemer. My God, from Planet of the Apes.
And the effects, man, like in the featurette, they have this, like in the scene in the ballroom when the wave crashes through the wall, that was apparently like 4 cameras set up. They spliced all that together, I guess.
That's one take. That's one take though. Yeah. And they basically cut, they had a multiple angles. So they were able to cut around and get 4 different shots in one and extend make it kind of have more impact that way as well. They were able to make the water have more impact that way, editorially speaking.
Yeah, but it's great. But besides even the facts,
the miniature work is great too. Actually,
miniature work is
especially for that time period. Miniatures didn't always look great. Some effects people actually didn't know how to shoot miniatures properly back then, in my opinion. Even, but they know exactly what they're doing. They got a giant ship, which is what you got to do basically, and they shot it in daylight when they needed it shot in daylight. That way, it lends the realism to it. That way, you don't get the idea it's in a tank somewhere. Yeah. It's always when they shoot miniatures on sound stages that it doesn't work. Unless they smoke it out and do a night shot kind of thing with it. But man, it's just, in my opinion, no, these are good effects still. They're not dated. The effects are not dated, and neither of the stunts are, giant mechanical effects for that matter.
Yeah, and I mean, am I Googling this? It seems like the model was 21 and a half feet long and weighed a ton. That's why I thought, because with the water, I was like, this model has to be huge.
If you see, I found photos of people behind the scenes where people are in the water next to it, and you can see the scale from that. And it's, 21 feet, I would believe. It looks huge, that damn model.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I mean, the stunt people, once again, in this movie, damn, God, they deserve some. This is why stunt people need to get awards once again. I don't know why they don't have an Oscar for stunt people. They should have already had one back then during Poseidon, in my opinion. Look at those stunt people, man. Those people worked. They earned their money that day.
Yeah,
on this big sequence we're talking about where the water's crashing in.
Yeah, all these disaster movies, boy, they were keeping stuntmen in business for a long time.
Oh, totally. And same on Irwin Allen's later films like Towering Inferno, even. Same. That's a testament to stunt people. He makes stunt people. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he does everything. Throws them out a window, sets them on fire, throws them off a building.
Yeah. So the pacing is also fantastic. This isn't that talky for a 70s movie.
No, I think it's a very tightly paced movie. It's very fast paced for its time. Definitely. It doesn't fart around.
No, it does not fart around except for the farting around scene. If there's very few like character development moments. You get a little bit of it, but not much. It's just like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's the other movies like this, the airport movies by Jennings Lang, produced for Universal. They were kind of disaster movies too, not Irwin Allen. Those movies, sometimes I will say, you watch them and they have too many damn characters to deal with.
Yeah,
and they got to kill all of them or something. They're going to kill half of them anyway, and you're just like, God. Everybody and their dog is in this damn movie.
Yeah. And this one's 6 people.
Yeah, at least it's 6 people.
8 people, whatever it is. But anyway, and if you like some good old Gene Hackman yelling, this movie has plenty of it.
That's right.
And then what could be...
Take me!
What could be improved on, Gene Hackman shouts every line.
What do you mean? I want to pill you last time, okay? Sorry. I can't help it.
That was pretty good.
The Gene Hackman has come out of me.
Embrace your inner Hackman. Yes.
I remember he did some narration for a while there too, even.
Oh, yeah.
It's like United Airlines. When you want to fly, you want to travel. Choose me! No.
Not like a book like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or something. Like he just narrated.
He narrated a documentary about David O. Selznick, I remember. And I remember talking to my dad and going, Dad, don't you think Gene Hackman was a pretty good narrator? No. Not really. Why? I don't know. Something he doesn't work with him. His voice is too recognizable.
Yeah, true. The captain and Lenarcos, their storyline disappears. That was flushed away in the wave right there.
That's what I'm assuming. Lenarcos died in the wave that killed Leslie Nielsen's captain.
We don't know. Stay tuned for Poseidon Adventure 2.
Lenarcos swims on shore. He survived. Dun, 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 dun.
Anyway, the characters are a little bland. And looking at the characters in the novel, just like on the Wikipedia article, seemed like there was a little more depth to some of those. And they were a little grittier, rough around the edges.
Yeah.
These characters kind of clean. Even the couple doesn't bicker that much.
Oh, yeah.
So in a way, I don't think they're not as well drawn or as interesting as they could be. That's a minor thing, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that slightly. But it does help the pacing at the same time.
True. We don't have to get to know these people. All right, let's go. Married couple, check.
Only the people we assume are not going to die, maybe.
Cop and his stripper wife, that's not interesting. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all right. All right.
Wait, when you're like the audience, wait, I want to hear more about this story. Cop and the stripper, that's it. I don't want to talk anymore about it. No more about that.
Not important.
Mr. and Mrs. Rosen are going to Israel to meet their grandson. How old? So their grandson's 2? Who are his mommy and daddy? We don't need to know all that. We
don't need to know that. Let's go.
Where are they going to stay in Israel? Are they going to stay in Tel Aviv?
We gotta go. We gotta be the top of the show.
I hope they're not going during a time when there's conflict. I hope. We don't need to worry about that. They're just going to Israel. They're going to a nice part of Israel. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. That's what the plot's telling you. Forget about it.
We know just enough about these people.
I'm the Poseidon plot if it's talking. Forget about it.
Why is Mr. Martin single?
You don't need an explanation.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay. Thank you, Poseidon plot.
You don't need to know.
Sit down and shut up.
All of you in the audience don't need any of this. You don't need to know any of this, okay? Just cover your ears.
So, I mean, what happened to the rest of the people on the ship? All those people, like I said earlier, that were shambling by. Oh, well, we don't know.
Those are people who died. The guy sitting next to Reverend Scott. The woman eating the cake next to Reverend Scott. She was one who died on the Poseidon.
I was doing a take on that Jim Carroll song.
Let me ask you this. Does this movie hold up today?
I think there's some things that are dated, like obviously the music and the dancing and some of the wardrobe maybe, but no, I think it still holds up. I don't think.
Yeah.
I could see a younger person liking this movie. I'm
There's tense moments. This is honestly the first time I've ever seen this.
Really?
I don't know how. Yeah, I've missed it. I was aware of it. Obviously, it's a huge movie, classic. But for me, it was like, this was a lot more thrilling than I expected, and not as cheesy.
It's a thrill ride movie.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I kind of wanted it a little more, but I mean, it is certainly of an era. It's dialed back because of that. But yeah, minor quibbles, but I thought it was really good, and I was smart and taught, and Gene Hackman's good in it, and Ernest Borgnine. What more can you want, except for a better Roddy McDowall death? Like, Roddy McDowall could have been like, I can't see, Mr. Scott. I can't see. Or something,
Yeah, what if he dropped into the water, bobbed back up, and then just his hands were like extending, and he's just like, and he's like slowly drowning. He's like, I can't swim anymore, my leg.
Mr. Scott, here's the key to the engine room, Mr. Scott. Come on, guys.
Tell my wife I love her. She's in Ireland.
Well, Jordan, did audiences float to see? No, wait. Let me think of a better one. Did audiences climb through the bowel of a ship to see this film?
Did audiences flood in to see this?
Yes, thank you. On a budget of $4.7 million, and that's a hefty little sum for 1973. But not crazy, but yeah, that's an expensive movie.
$5 million was average big budget back then. I know that would sound crazy nowadays compared to what they spend now, but that was 1970s dollars.
Yeah.
Star Wars cost $9 million later on. Planet of the Apes before that cost around $5 million.
Yeah.
So if that gives you that $5 million was just standard big budget back then, though. Yeah. But yeah, and it made what?
$125 million.
And that was $84 million domestically, I think, alone.
That's a lot of dinero there. That is
1972 dough. Man, that's a giant hit back then.
In fact, it was the second highest grossing film that year after, do you know, Jordan? Can you guess?
Oh, shit.
Made double what this...
Godfather?
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Well done, Jordan.
The first Godfather.
Godfather, Paramount movie. 86.3 million asterisk. These are all Wikipedia numbers. Poseidon Adventure. Domestic rentals were 42. Global was 125, right?
Yeah.
What's Up, Doc? 28. Deliverance, 22.5. Jeremiah Johnson, 21.9. Cabaret. Deep Throat, Jordan, was the seventh highest grossing film of that year, making $20 million.
First hardcore porn to be a box office hit back then. Wow.
Yeah, which we talked about. On the same episode, we talked about Ernest Borgnine on The Devil's Reign.
Oh, that's right, because it was the same company, Bryanston.
Yeah, Bryanston. Then The Getaway. Yeah, it was just like, wow, what a year!
What a year for movies, man. I mean, this was the summer. Well, this was a Christmas release, but summer or Christmas is the big releases. So this definitely was like an event movie to take the family to and go see.
Yeah. Nominated. Oh my goodness. The Oscar time was kind. Academy loved this film. Best Supporting Actress, Shelley Winters. Best Art Direction, Cinematography, Costume Design, Film Editing, of course. Original Dramatic Score, John Williams, which we'll hear some of.
Oh, yeah.
Best Song, The Morning After, which it won for. Best Sound nominated, and it won the special award for Best Visual Effects.
Wow.
L.B. Abbott and A.D. Flowers, like you mentioned. So two Oscar?
L.B. Abbott, yes. And that was the other name I forgot to mention, L.B. Abbott. I met his grandson once at a film festival in Dallas, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you ask him about the Poseidon Adventure?
We talked about Logan's Run, actually. I brought up Logan's Run, I think.
Nerd!
I think I did. I probably did bring up Poseidon Adventure, too, though. Yeah, being the nerd I was back then.
Yeah, anyway.
Am.
So, Jordan, as a film nerd, what sort of rating do you give this film?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
I know this movie's got all the. We mentioned all the flaws in this movie. I didn't even skip around. I think I was pretty honest and open about the flaws that I saw too. But I will say this movie's great, man. I rediscovered this movie recently. I've watched it on the projector in my living room and really felt like I've got the cinematic experience with this movie again. And
Yeah.
I give it 8 out of 10 life jackets. I'm going to be
Ooh.
bold there. Despite all of its flaws, despite even the bad dancing by the extras in the beginning of the movie, despite the plot holes.
The bad singing by Carol Lindley. Was that her?
There's got to be a morning after. Yeah, that was actually Carol Lindley singing on that part, I think.
No, that's mean. She was okay. But yeah, I agree with all that.
What do you give this rating? Yes, Anthony.
Yes, I am maybe not quite so generous.
I knew it.
And there's really
Here it comes.
just to be an asshole. 7 out of 10. So not far off. I mean,
okay, that's surprising.
I wanted more, Jordan. I wanted more.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's a tight, 120 minutes or whatever. But I didn't want more running time per se, but just I don't know, dwell with these characters a little more, have the characters fleshed out or more interesting. Mm-hmm. I love all the action and everything, the sets and the acting, all that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But just, I don't know, just a little bit more and what happened and this and that. Just little things, little tweaks. I don't know. But otherwise, who's wrong or who's right? Me or the Academy?
Yeah.
Me or millions of people who love this movie because it's a classic?
I mean, this movie is an action adventure thriller at the end of the day. Yeah. It's an A to Z action adventure thriller. It's for the audience. This is not a movie for film critics. This is an audience movie. This is a movie for the audience to immerse themselves in.
Popcorn
and escape.
Film.
Exactly. This is the very definition of a popcorn film. Absolutely. This is literally, you want to get your popcorn before you go into the movie and get your candy and your soda,
And it does entertain. I give it 7 out of 10. Christmas trees, inappropriate back rubs from a disgraced preacher.
Ooh.
I don't know. Is that too much? Flaming. How about burning water? Fire on the water. I don't know.
Then I give it 8 out of 10 Ernest Borgnine corsets.
Now you got it
for his back. Changing my rating.
There's that scene where Reverend Scott's like, and his corset's about to blow.
8 out of 10 shrunken Carolyn Lindley outfits at the end of the day.
But Carolyn Lindley butt shots.
Carol Lindley. Oh God, yeah. She was a former Playboy playmate, actually. 1965, apparently. Fun fact.
But no, it's really Stella Stevens. They really show off her assets for sure. A lot of ladder scenes.
I will say, I'll admit, Stella Stevens. I was in love with Stella Stevens when I watched this movie the first few times as a preteen teenager.
It's a charming lady.
I was in love with her more than anybody, actually, compared to even
Shelley Winters,
Pamela Sue Martin.
Oh,
Shelley Winters, I will say, looked hotter to me this time around as I was watching the movie. I kind of thought she was hotter this time than I normally did.
She was kind of milfy and wild in the streets. Shelley Winters was a pretty lady in her day, certainly.
Yeah, I think she was not. I think she's quite attractive.
Anyway, hot takes. That's what you get on this podcast. Two slimy dudes talking about Shelley Winters.
Now we're going to invite you to our next podcast, Movie Crushes.
Movie crushes. Anyway, so Jordan, thank you for bringing this movie to me.
I hope. Were you not entertained?
I was entertained. Thank you.
I mean, it's fun, right? It's fun, nevertheless. I mean, you can't,
fun action movie. Makes
shit blowing up. People getting their hair wet.
People getting their hair wet, and sometimes, and then their hair is dry in the next scene. Continuity. Anyway, but yeah, it whet my appetite for 70s disaster movies. So maybe I'll check some more out. And I know we spoiled this movie for you, but hey, go check it out. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's fun. If anything, yeah. Grab your favorite drink, your favorite substance, and watch this movie.
Yeah. And Jordan, maybe next time we'll talk about a movie with fewer upside down sets.
I wanted to talk about Towering Inferno at some point.
Yeah.
Before we were going to talk about this movie, but I think we couldn't find a decent. I still have a pan and scan version that I bought on Amazon Prime. So, but yeah. Irwin Allen movies, man. I mean, maybe we should find another disaster film from the 70s at some point to talk about, though, because disaster movies from the 70s are fun, I think.
Oh, we talk about plenty of disaster movies from the 70s,
That was
like
the
Shriek
era.
of the Mutilated, but, not actual intending to be disasters.
But like an airport or a towering inferno, you know what I mean? Like or a swarm, that kind of thing.
Another Michael Caine movie.
Another Michael Caine disaster film, yes.
This one with bees. Maybe we will. I don't know. I want to talk about one of the 70s bug movies.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing. Bug movies from the 70s. You could do a whole separate podcast about that.
Yep. All right. And everyone, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, check out my TikTok. It is... now I forgot the name of it. Damn it. I got a bunch
Go
of
look
views.
for Jordan's TikTok.
I got a bunch of views recently for a stupid at close range Chris Walken impression. More views than anything. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, so thank you all for listening. And if you like this, check out some of our other episodes where we talk about other movies. And yeah, if you like this, of course, tell your friends, tell your kids, tell your wives. If you are somehow stuck on a capsized ocean liner before you die, your anticlimactic death, please tell everyone that you listen to this podcast.
Yes. And if you're on a capsized ocean liner and you happen to get an internet signal, please listen to our podcast then too. It'll entertain you while you're waiting for the help or trying to climb out with Reverend Scott.
Yeah. What else? What else you got to do? Hit all the good buttons on whatever platform you're listening to this on. We really appreciate it. And Jordan, this has been...
The robots! They took my podcast! I started to believe in you, preacher!
All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.